This is a presentation of by BizLink and Mobile Viewpoint about artificial intelligence use in sports production solutions. And I'm hoping that we'll show you some interesting products and interesting ways of doing new things that perhaps enable us to do more than could be done before by using tools and making things more efficient. So just do some introductions. I'm David Edwards. I'm product manager at BizLink and Mobile Viewpoint. And Martijn.
Yes, my name is Martijn. I'm based in the Netherlands, the headquarters of Mobile Viewpoint, and working as a sales manager within the company.
Right. I'm Jim Giacchetta, a CTO and co-founder of VidOvation, and I'm very glad to have Martijn and David as a very special guest on our Wednesday webinar. And we're very excited to share with you folks about the new technology around camera artificial intelligence, eliminating the need for camera operators, which is an exciting prospect. So take it away, guys.
That's great. And because we're talking a lot about video today, we'll be showing you quite a lot of videos. I think we'll be doing that in two different ways. I'll ask Jim to run some videos later, but also we'll embed some videos within the slides we're going to show you. It's worth saying that when we're embedding the slides, because of the way that GoToWebinar works, you might find that some of those slides might be a bit low frame rate, a bit jerky. That's no reflection on what we're talking about today. That's just a property of the tool, so bear with us for that. In talking of video and sports, we're going to talk a lot about what makes an engaging sports production and what you can do with tier one sports, major sporting events. Obviously, we've just had the Super Bowl and other events are coming up. Martijn, what's your favorite sport that you like to watch on TV?
I like to watch soccer, and not only the soccer in the Netherlands, but also in the UK, for example, or Spain or Italy.
Yeah. So for me, it's rugby, and I quite like the flow of rugby, and in some ways also the certain amount of brutality that there is with it. But for me, I just want to show you some of that content. So this happens to be a tier one rugby game that I was watching the other day, and when I watched that live content, what the expert producers give you there, there's a multi-camera shoot. It shows the flow of the game. It gives you different camera views and all of those sorts of things that you would expect from a tier one production. And of course, that's high level production, that high level multi-camera production really tells you the story of that event and delivers the pace of that event. But there's more to a tier one production as well, of course. There's the halftime analysis, the pundits, the experts giving their view and the discussion, and that's what sort of draws the fans in and creates a sense of engagement with what is going on the sports field. And of course, that analysis piece of programming is fully produced, again, multiple cameras, the director reacts to what is being discussed, and so that's an engaging piece of sports production as well. But we know that people engage in sports differently these days. There's a lot going on online, and so the content owners, they push a lot of that content out on Twitter and other platforms, and so much of that content these days includes video. In fact, we know that from a recent survey, it's become clear that a 30% increase in video on social media increases engagement by over 100%, and that, of course, in many ways is why you are seeing video as part of that content. And many people now follow sporting events not live on TV, but also on social media platforms. And what is shown by the content owners on social media then gets reflected by how the fans interact with that, and the fans do their own posts and the discussion continues, and you then get an involvement and engagement as a fan long beyond the period when the sporting action was taking place live. And of course, that creates that sense of engagement, that sense of belonging, that sporting affiliation you may get with your favorite team. So that's perfect for tier one, and tier one productions continue to experiment and do new things. But the question is, what can you do beyond tier one? So tier two, tier three sporting events may be going out live on TV platforms, on linear platforms, and maybe going out live on demand platforms, on OTT services. But clearly, for those events that are below tier one, you can't always dedicate the same amount of production resources to that. So the question then comes, what can you do to get that same sense of engagement that you get with tier one programming? Perhaps are there new ways to get greater viewership of those online platforms? And how do you create that sense of engagement that you may have with viewers on sub-tier one programming? And this is really what we want to talk to you about today, because we think with the use of AI production tools, you can now do more for less and perhaps deliver more to your users and gain a greater viewership with those sub-tier one events. So I'm going to introduce you to some production tools today, and the first one is IQ Sports Producer. So Jim, if you can run BT, please, on slide number 9.
Televised sports production has been the same for a long time, but now it's changing. Meet IQ Sports Producer from IQ Video Solutions. With the power of artificial intelligence, professional productions can now be created without an on-site camera crew, and thus at a fraction of the cost. The AI has a high level of automation. It tracks both the ball and the players. It overlays the scoreboard and graphics, and it creates highlights and replays. High quality, easy and affordable sports production has never been so easy. Tap into new possibilities with IQ Sports Producer from IQ Video Solutions.
So we introduced a product there called IQ Sports Producer, and actually I want to show you some examples of that with a second video. So if we just skip to this video, and if you can run the video for this video, and it will introduce sort of a little bit more about how the technology works and what it can achieve.
IQ Sports Producer from Mobile Viewpoint uses high-quality 4K cameras to give superior image quality. Advanced AI technology detects a player and ball action. The AI engine can track the action even if the area of play is momentarily obscured. The video image is processed to deliver and direct an engaging broadcast production with smooth pans and zooms just like a professional camera operator. Audiences are brought to the heart of the action through sound from a high-quality microphone array positioned near the action.
And Martijn, if you can talk us through this video, which might be a bit jumpy for our viewers, about this sort of explains how we are processing the video and doing that production. Martijn, you can
so we use multiple 4K center cameras. They are all provided and delivered in one box. That's installed at the center line of the football field or ice hockey stadium. We can cover the complete pitch. We can create a 180-degree overview of the pitch with this camera. And thanks to our AI algorithm, as you can see in the video over here, we can automatically track the players and the ball and create an image that looks like there's a real cameraman next to the field. So you can see the 4 images, which creates the panorama picture, which stitch them together. And thanks to our AI algorithm, you can see the red square. That's the part where we track the players and the ball. And in the right bottom corner, you can see how the video will look like on TV or social media. That's the final result that we can create with the IQ Sports Producer system.
So we're doing everything that a human cameraman has the capability to do there, aren't we? We have the ability to zoom and pan and follow the action, And in terms of following the action, Martijn, we really can, because it's not just a ball that we track, it's the players as well and the referees, isn't it?
Yeah, there are a lot of rules within our AI algorithm. For example, the size of the field. So we know exactly how big a field is. This can be a soccer field, an ice hockey field, a field hockey field, a floorball. We can do a lot of sports. And within this area, we can track the players, the referee, but also the ball. We can recognize specific parts in the field. For example, the penalty area, the goal area, but also the center area and the center line. And we use all this information to create a final video image that looks like it's been created by a real cameraman.
Excellent. And talking of the image, the quality of the cameras that we use makes a difference as well, doesn't it, Martijn? Because some systems use something similar to a webcam, but we've gone for systems that really do give high resolution, high quality video, haven't we, Martijn?
Yeah, exactly. Mobile Viewpoint originally creates equipment for real broadcasting companies. So we also want to use this technology in our IQ Sports Producer. And as you can see on the picture in this slide, you can use low quality lenses, but we use the high quality lenses to create a very high quality video picture that can really be used for TV. So we have a system that can stream in 25 and 30 frames, but also a high quality setup that can create a video image in 50 or 60 frames. And we even have zoom capabilities, so we can really zoom in on the ball or the players to still create the high quality video image and production.
So broadcast quality lenses and broadcast frame rates as well. And in terms of cameras, I think we can introduce you to a new camera system that we've just released. So
with Mobile Viewpoint IQ Sports Producer, create live professional sports productions without an on-site camera team, now with an outstanding level of quality you haven't seen before. The new Mobile Viewpoint Stellacam is designed for artificial intelligence-powered live sports production and is a new addition to our range of cameras, fulfilling the need for automatic coverage of demanding sports in high quality. In combination with our PTZ camera and the power of artificial intelligence, our AI system can be deployed for a fraction of the cost of a full production crew, allowing you to economically bring new events to viewers or free up resources to capture new and exciting content. As a significant step up from off-the-shelf surveillance cameras, Mobile Viewpoint is launching a camera with full broadcast frame rate and adjustable lenses. It's a panoramic broadcast camera with fantastic image quality and full 50 or 60 frame per second support. The Mobile Viewpoint Stellacam is now a key component of IQ Sports Producer, the platform of choice for automatically capturing live sporting events.
And then having talked about the quality of the cameras that we have within the system and full frame rate and the ability to zoom, it's also important to say that if we are replicating what you can achieve with a multi-camera shoot in Tier 1, then we can deploy multi-camera solutions. So it's not just a center camera that pans and zooms, but we also have the ability to put multiple cameras maybe at other areas. So here a soccer pitch as an example. Martijn, talk us through that.
Yeah, we have the center camera, as I just explained, which is installed in the center of the field to cover the complete pitch in a 180-degree overview. And thanks to the AI algorithm, we can zoom in on the players and the ball. But we can also add extra cameras close to the sideline, for example, close to the goal, which can be the small red boxes you see here next to the center camera. They can be located in a different area next to the field. And if we detect the ball within this area close to this camera, we can automatically switch to these cameras So you can really create a fully automated multi-camera production without having people on site.
Fabulous. And in terms of the sports that we support, it's obviously not just soccer, but there's a long list, and actually the list goes beyond that, doesn't it, Martijn? Talk us through some of the sports that we can produce.
Yeah, it all started with soccer because that's one of the most popular sports in the Netherlands. So that's very easy to use for training purposes of your AI algorithm. But once that was working fine, we got a lot of requests from other sport departments, sport clubs all over the world. For example, rugby, field hockey, basketball, floorball, which is very popular in Scandinavia, but also ice hockey. And in all of these sports, they work with a ball or a puck, which you can track. But we can also track objects like a horse or a bicycle in a velodrome, for example. And for each of those different sports, we use a different AI algorithm because each of those sports have a different field of play, but also different objects. So one is using a big ball, one is using a small ball or a puck. And each of the sports have different rules, which we all implemented in this AI algorithm, which we have developed within our company.
Fabulous. And obviously we've talked about the AI-driven cameras and the AI production in there, but we also say that, you know, with tier 2, tier 3 games, there may be a cameraman who is capturing that content as a game already, and we wouldn't go as far as to say that the system would remove the need for human camera people, camera operators, but actually by using the AI cameras and the AI engine to produce some of the sporting action, it then frees up that camera operator to capture extra content. And so, for example, you may now choose to move that camera operator down to the sideline. Perhaps he can capture a video of the coach. Perhaps they can do half-time or full-time interviews. All of those sorts of things become possible. So you can also bring in human captured content as well to create a more rich production. Now, having captured that content, then there's also the thought about how you engage with your fans during and after the event on social media. So, Martijn, we have the ability to export video content to social media platforms as well, don't we?
Yeah, we have our own web-based management platform. It's called Link Matrix, and that can be used for our mobile encoders, but also for the IQ Sports Producer. And basically everything you stream with IQ Sports Producer will be stored on the server, and you have access to this content via Link Matrix. So you can download the complete soccer game or ice hockey game, but you can also select small parts of it and download them and publish them immediately on social media. And this can be used very well for fan engagement, for example, because fans are always interested. As soon as there has been scored a goal, they want to see the replay, and if you can post it immediately on Twitter or Facebook, yeah, that's very good for the views on your webpage.
Exactly. So we talked a lot there about producing content automatically at the side of the sporting event, but what about those in-studio discussions? And so, Mobile Viewpoint, we have a second AI-driven tool for studio production as well, and this is our vPilot system.
Imagine a broadcast studio that does not require a production crew to create a professional production. Through the power of artificial intelligence, this is now a reality. Meet vPilot by Mobile Viewpoint. With vPilot, you can create a professional production that is easy, fast, and affordable. Engaging with your audience through broadcasting has never been so effortless. vPilot offers a fully automated multi-camera studio with artificial intelligence controlling the cameras and the shot selection. You don't need any behind-the-scenes crew. With the studio management tool, you can easily set up preferences for the virtual director, such as shot types and lengths. The V-panel gives the talent flexibility at their fingertips, allowing them to add graphics, insert, or cut to an external camera when they see fit. live streaming and online publication is fast and easy. You can stream to any video platform you want. So, start broadcasting with the power of AI with vPilot by Mobile Viewpoint.
And so, having introduced that tool to you, Martijn, if you can take us through some of the capabilities that system has in terms of the multiple cameras and the AI engine choosing the shots.
Yeah, so vPilot contains several PTZ cameras, as you can see here in the slide. But next to these PTZ cameras, we use 3D sensors, and the 3D sensors create a 3D overview of the room, so they can really detect people within the studio. And as a director, you have specific rules. When do you need to switch to a different shot? How does the shot needs to look like? You can give all this information into our server, and based on our AI algorithm, we can create the right shot based on the preferences of the director and the cameraman, and do basically everything automatically. So once you have the system, you can start to configure it, create the right shot based on your own location in the studio, fill in the length of the shot, the frequency of the shot, the minimum length, the maximum length, and based on this information, the system will create its own production.
That's right. And so for sports type productions, you can then, as I showed you in that tier 1 clip right at the start of this presentation, you can then have the AI director to follow those discussions and to produce some engaging content with the appropriate amount of pace to that production and camera switching that suits the event. So, and even if those presenters choose to move during the production, then the AI technology has the ability to follow the presenters, doesn't it, Martijn?
Yeah, the good thing about this system is that it will enable people that don't have any experience with multi-camera productions to do a multi-camera production. So you can see in the picture in this slide is made in a football stadium in the Netherlands. These guys are usually creating Instagram posts, Facebook posts, but they were also interested in doing a post and a pre-match show, so just before the match. And thanks to the vPilot, they are now able to do a multi-camera production without having any directors or cameramen on site. And the system is configured only once, created the right shot, and they step in 10 minutes before the show starts, and they can do a live production. And if the guest is small or he sits more to the left or to the right, the system will detect it and create the right shot based on the settings.
Exactly. Thank you. And so we've talked there about some studio production solutions, but Mobile Viewpoint, we also have the ability for more portable automated camera solutions as well. And here we're showing a picture of our TrolleyLive product, which was used recently at the Olympics, both the Summer Games and the Winter Games. And that has the ability to provide a personal interview solution, which may be great for capturing video content from the players, maybe as they come off the pitch and you want them to do interviews. And obviously, we know that you may be playing an away game, so you can take this solution with you to an away game. Okay, so that showed the TrolleyLive product, as a portable solution and as a solution that can be controlled centrally. It doesn't necessarily require that the user, the person being interviewed, to have any technical skill, because the central control person using the link matrix control system can point the camera and fully configure the product. So Martijn, perhaps talk us through how this was used at the Olympics, and also how you can get connectivity out of the unit and into your production.
Yeah, the TrolleyLive is an all-in-one solution. So as you can see on the picture here on the right side, it's a box with a PTZ camera, a touchscreen for video return, and to manage the system in the field, but also an encoder with modems, an audio device for audio to speak actually with the studio or the presenter in the studio. And we used it recently in Beijing during the Olympics, but also in Tokyo during the Olympics. And it was a very nice use case because they were located in the athlete village, and there was no cameraman and journalist allowed in the athlete village. So these TrolleyLive systems were set up 2 weeks before the Olympic Games started. Everything was enabled, SIM cards were enabled, they were connected to the management system. So once the Olympic Games started, the athletes could stand in front of the camera, and people in Europe, they could remotely control the camera, create the right shot by using the pan, tilt, and zoom functionalities, and send back video and audio to the journalist, and they could really have a two-way interview communication between Beijing and a studio in Europe.
That's it, exactly. And so with all of those tools together, what we're suggesting here is that although a tier 2 or tier 3 program today that may be going out live on a certain platform, that exists today, but perhaps you can't afford to give such a rich production as you can on a tier 1 production. But by deploying all of those tools we've talked about, the TrolleyLive, the vPilot, the IQ Sports Producer, and the ability to create a multi-camera shoot, largely fully automated, maybe bringing in your own camera operator content down from the pitch, and being able to export content onto social media platforms, you really can recreate to a very large extent exactly the same values that you get out of a tier 1 production. So to give you some flavor of exactly what can be achieved when you bring all of those tools together, I'm going to play some of the videos for you. So again, apologies if this is a little bit jumpy because of the GoToWebinar properties, but this is content that has been produced live through IQ Sports Producer, following the action, and not just following the ball, but following the players, and so being able to create the best camera shot from that live. So you can produce engaging, accurate live sporting events that have pace to them through IQ Sports Producer. And in terms of using that content and doing action replays, Martijn, talk us through the ability through Link Matrix to manage highlights and scores and scoreboards through the Link Matrix platform.
Yeah, IQ Sports Producer is a very advanced solution with a lot of features next to just tracking the game and the players. So we can also create replays automatically. So in this system, you can basically watch the game live, and as soon as we scored a goal, or maybe there's an injury, or something else is happening, you can create automatically an highlight. So on the left side, you can see the highlight. So you can set a point within the timeline of the game, and you can have 5 seconds before the activity, 10 seconds, and based on this information, you can create your own highlight and replay.
And in terms of keeping track of the score and the time, we have some automated tools as well, don't we, Martijn?
Yeah. What you see here on the right side, that's the manual version. So you can also do it manually. So you can change the score and the time by just pressing the buttons. But if we can see the scoreboard in the venue with our camera at the center line, we can also use the OCR functionality. And OCR means optical character recognition. And that means that you can copy the information from the scoreboard and set it as an overlay over the video, like you see here, very small in the center video in the left top corner. So we can copy the score and the time from the scoreboard in the field and publish it as an overlay over the video, completely automated.
Which of course is part of the score and the time are very much part of the drama of the game, isn't it? So, yeah. So here we're now talking about vPilot, the automated studio solution. So here we're showing some of that produced content and the ability to switch the camera view depending on who is speaking. And so you are producing a live piece of content with many of the properties that a human director would give to that event. Lastly, I want to talk about the bringing in the TrolleyLive product. So Martijn, talk us through some of this content.
Yeah, we just explained a little bit about the functionality of TrolleyLive. And this is actually live footage from the athlete village from Beijing, the most recent Olympic Games we did. And this TrolleyLive was located in the Polish athlete village. And this is one of the athletes from Poland. And she's doing a live interview between Beijing and Warsaw in Poland without having the journalist or cameraman in the athlete village. So this is completely automated and managed remotely.
And in producing your content, obviously you need a delivery platform for your viewers, and it might be YouTube or Facebook Live, which we're also using today, but that has some great benefits in terms of reach, but also has some issues in terms of how a content owner may choose to monetize their sporting content. So Martijn, we have a different option as well, don't we?
Yeah, one of the options is indeed Facebook or YouTube. The downside of these platforms is that you can't add your own advertisements to these games, so you cannot make any money on the games. But we have developed our own platform, which is called Your Team Stream. It's basically an OTT platform. We can stream the video footage from IQ Sports Producer directly to Your Team Stream platform. And as a viewer, as a fan, I can pay for a game, or I can pay for a complete month or season. So I can watch all the games, and as a club, I can make a little bit of money on each of the played games. I can add my own advertisements to the games, to the platform, but I can also ask sponsors to sponsor a complete game that the fans can watch it for free. But in any way, I can make some money on the played games.
So we think, all options in terms of how you might deliver your content to your viewers, they're available, whether it's classic linear TV, whether it's the big social media organizations, whether it's your own portal, or of course moving your content to OTT platforms that you may have also done deals with. That's all available.
Yeah,
and then there's actually.
One extra side note, David. Very important is that we don't own the content. So the content will be owned by the clubs itself. We just provide a platform where they can publish the content. So we don't own the content.
That's a good question, because there are service providers that will do this for you, but then they own the content.
Yeah, no, we don't take any revenue of the content. Obviously, the platform needs to be paid for, but it just costs for streaming. But we don't take any revenue or content rights.
Exactly. And so we talked about how Link Matrix as the control system has the ability to export that content onto the social media platforms. Maybe it's Twitter or Instagram, and so you can engage with your fans that way during and after the event, which we said, of course, is particularly for younger viewers is a key way of engaging with the fan base. So all in all, I think really what we've talked about today is how you can engage with viewers in a similar way to Tier 1, but not with the large teams of people that you may choose to deploy to an on-site Tier 1 game. In terms of the ability to produce such rich content, we think with both vPilot, IQ Sports Producer, TrolleyLive, all of those, that experience can be produced with some efficient AI production tools. And what that means maybe for people who own that content or want to move their content and get that to the viewers, perhaps if they're producing that content already, now you can deliver a much richer experience, which perhaps will engage more viewers and enable you to get more revenue from that increased viewer share. It will enable your viewers to engage more deeply, and perhaps you can then monetize that in other ways, perhaps in social media. Or if you have rights to content that perhaps you can't use because with a full human operation, perhaps that's not really cost effective, but perhaps by deploying these AI tools, now the economies change and you can actually bring that content to viewers and monetize that, whereas previously before it just wasn't financially viable. So it's the ability to gain new viewers and engage more deeply with existing productions, and also gain additional revenue from launching new services that perhaps weren't financially viable before. I think with this AI systems, we think those two potentials really become a possibility. So I think now we open things up to questions, Jim. Martin and I can do our best to whatever the attendees want to throw at us.
Well, we'll let people collect their thoughts, ask some questions. I have a couple of comments, couple of questions. In the U.S., some of our customers have, you talked about doing Tier 2, Tier 3 events like it's a Tier 1. In the US, you have rights holders. So it might be a Tier 1 event, but then there's the primary rights holders and then there's secondary holders. So I'll give you an example. A golf tournament, maybe NBC or Fox is the primary rights holder. They cover most of the tournament. And then someone like Turner Sports might come in as a secondary rights holder. They can't cover the actual event, but they can cover warm-ups, interviews before and after the tournament. And super fans want that content. They want to meet the players. They want to meet the golfers. They want to hear that banter between the players, trash talking each other before they actually play. And some of that doesn't go live. The primary rights holder is not catching that. So, like a Turner Sports would use this secondary content for social media or for their website, or maybe to go on air on a Turner channel instead of an NBC or a Fox. And as you said earlier, they don't have the production dollars to put behind that, because they don't have they have secondary sponsors. They don't have the primary sponsors. So I see that as another application. Do you find that in Europe, guys? Is that the case sometimes in Europe?
Yes, I think you're completely right. We certainly see a lot of the sports news channels, if you like, producing content around the major event, and that's where I think technologies such as the vPilot studio production system can come in, because you can then give that warm-up and post-match analysis production with a really rich production that perhaps you couldn't have afforded to do before. Do you think, Martijn?
Right.
See a lot of that?
Exactly. Exactly. We have, as we just showed also in the presentation, that we have different solutions to cover the complete day of the sport event. So we can cover the game itself, which you can forward to a specific platform, but also the interviews before the match or after the match. In halftime, we can make interviews which you can forward to another platform. That's all possible indeed.
Yes, and things like team arrivals as well. The team getting off their coach and coming into the sporting arena. You can do that with bonded mobile solutions and have a cameraman roam. Entry. That's all possible. So I think that's possible. And I'm also thinking, Jim, that you've talked about those major events. Some events, there's primary game going on at the moment. I'm sort of thinking, I don't know, I'm imagining a sort of tennis.
Yeah, tennis, exactly, right.
A major court and some of the minor courts that perhaps other people have rights to. You know, maybe it won't be tennis, but there are other similar events where you know, multiple games are happening at the same time, and you can put out some of these additional games on, you know, on an OTT platform, whereas maybe the major game is going out on a classic linear TV channel.
Right. I think a common question that may come up, Martijn, with the IQ Sports producer, you and I had talked about this prior. You do have quite a lengthy list of sports you cover now, but you know, we're introducing this product to the U.S. market. VidOvation is positioned to lead that push, introducing this to the U.S. market. You know, we're members of Sports Video Group, so there's been a lot of buzz about this product. You know, learning American football, not to be confused with soccer football, European football. You're working on teaching the AI other sports. Is that, maybe speak to that a little bit, Martijn?
Yeah, no, we are always open for new sports. So as I said also during the presentation, it all started with soccer, and then other clubs, other sport associations find out what we were doing with this system. They showed their interest, and then we just started with doing demos, doing tests, and we started learning other sports. And yeah, that first started with sports that were close to soccer. Like handball, for example, it's almost the same size ball, same kind of field, or basketball. It's also pretty much similar. And then later on, we also start doing ice hockey, floorball, which is very popular in Scandinavia, and it's been done with a very small ball. And we also got in touch with a bicycle association to do cycling in a velodrome. So we're always open to do new sports and make the system even smarter and better for other sport associations. Yeah.
I imagine American football is similar to rugby, you know, because sometimes the ball is covered by the player, or they tuck the ball and then they run. But you would teach it the nuance. Do you set the unit? Do you tell it what sport's in front of it so it doesn't have to guess? Like do you kind of guide it? Like, we're doing soccer today, we're doing ice hockey tomorrow. You tell it, you put it in that mode.
Yeah, we have different AI algorithms, and we have a very nice scheduling tool, which is also available in our link matrix. So link matrix is basically the centralized portal to manage all of our systems. You can also schedule the games up front. So you have, for example, tomorrow in an indoor venue, you can have basketball. So you can select the right day, the time. You can fill in the names of the playing teams. But you can also select the sport that's being played. And once you do this, the system automatically knows how big the field is and which AI algorithm it needs to use. So if you select basketball, you automatically pick the basketball court and the basketball AI algorithm. And based on this information, we can produce the right game. And maybe within a few hours in the same venue, you can also do floorball or handball or volleyball. So you can again schedule the game, fill in the names of the playing teams, select the right AI algorithm, and you're ready to go.
I know you asked earlier, David, our favorite sport. We did a lot of work with the NHL, so I was obsessed with hockey for a while. At Staples Center, where the Kings play here in LA, they can change the venue from hockey to basketball within 12 hours. They put the parquet floor over the ice. So in a venue like that, that would be a prime example where you put in the schedule, you know, Saturday afternoon we're doing basketball, but then Sunday we're doing hockey, and the system would know and automatically adapt to the different sport.
That's right, exactly. And you mentioned an important point at the top of this little bit of conversation, Jim, about the American football, where, you know, the player holds the ball and he hides the ball. This system is so much more than a simple ball tracking AI engine. It's you know, it recognizes the players. It can differentiate between a player and the referee, and so it's not just simply following the ball, because that lead to AI mistakes. You know, I was talking to a soccer team a few weeks ago who were saying they'd tried some other systems, and when the ball was kicked out of play and someone went and threw in a different ball from a slightly different location, the camera didn't follow it because it knew where the ball had disappeared to, and it wasn't coming back from the same location, and the whole system got stuck. This system.
Well, I also imagine with programming, if it does temporarily lose track, you can train it to zoom out a little bit till it, you know, let's go a wide shot to, okay, now it finds, because you would do that in a natural production. You know, the director would be like, you know, you're not sure what's going on, let's go wide, you know, camera 3, go wide, okay, take 3, and you take a slightly wider angle, okay, now you found reacquired the action. So this is very good stuff. I think maybe we overwhelmed our attendees because maybe they have too many questions they're afraid to ask, but we will, what VidOvation does is we will edit this video within a week, less than a week. We will have it up on our website. We transcribe it. People can register to download the slides and watch the video. So that will be made available in under a week. And in the meantime, please reach out to VidOvation. You can reach out to us at vidovation.com. That's VidOvation.com. Or give us a call at area code 949-777-5435. And VidOvation, we're very proud to represent the VizLink family of products with Mobile Viewpoint as one of the flagship product lines within the VizLink family. So we're very excited to help our customers create more content. With so many streaming platforms, content distribution networks, whether it's OTT or traditional over the air, more content is needed. So I think this is a great way to generate more content by minimizing the number of camera operators, because as we all know, content is king. That's the intellectual property in our business, right? That's the intellectual property in our customers' business, is the content. So if we can help them generate more content at a lower price point, I think that's win-win for everyone, right?
Absolutely.
And the team is here to help.
Exactly.
Great. Well, I think we just wrap it up. You know, this is one of the shortest webinars. You guys are very efficient. I'll ramble on for 90 minutes. So I enjoyed playing producer today. You guys did all the heavy lifting. So thank you, Martijn. Or Martin, if we want to use your Anglo, Martijn or Martin, and thank you, David, for sharing today, and we look forward to working with you guys and bringing some of our customers to your solution.
Well, thank you very much, Jim.
Thanks, guys. Have a good night. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.